do with the seed? We roast it. Roast it, and it gives us a cashew nut. The only thing, our cashew nut, no preservatives are added. They're just packaged up and are sold. Very good, okay? And right now, we are in the season for cashew. March, April, and May, those are the months for cashew here. And we have a cashew fest every year in the month of April in Crooked Tree, north of our country. How about the little blackberries? Are you familiar with the blackberries?
Yeah.
All the difference is ours doesn't grow on vine, they grow on trees. So what do we do with that blackberry? We ferment it with a brown sugar and it gives us a blackberry wine as well. So today we have complimentary sample right where we're visiting at Alton Hall. Now I am not telling you to go out there and get drunk. All you need is just a little sample, alright? Because heat and wine doesn't go together. Okay, any questions? Are y'all enjoying your tour? Or you just want me to shut my big mouth up? Okay, so myself, your tour guide Leticia, I'm a mestizo. I'm a mixture of Spanish and Mayans. Hence the reason I am 5 feet short. Alright, my official language should be Spanish, okay? But on a daily basis, I speak Creole and English. And so, secondly, we have Creole. Creole is a culture, Creole is a language. So like I said, we do have broken language where we break down all the words as simple as possible here. So you say mother, we say mother. You say father, we say father. You say brother, we say brother. We don't say brother because we don't use the TH. We remove the TH and we add a D. So instead we say brother. Alright. Thirdly, we have Garinacos. Have you all ever visited Ruatan, Honduras before? Yeah. Alright. Have you met the guys that are beating those drums with a very fast beat with their hands? They're called the Garinago. Their language is called Garifuna. In English, we say good morning. In their language, they say Puiti Binafi. Simply means good morning. Fourthly, we have the Mayans. Have you all ever visited an archaeological site before? Yes. No? Few. Alright, so question, who are the Mayans? Well, it is said that Christopher Columbus was sailing the ocean. He met a group of people in a little dugout canoe. He stopped and he asked them, who are you? They replied, Mayan. He asked them, where are you going? They replied, Mayan. He asked them, where are you coming from? They replied, Mayan. He said, well, you know what? Let's name these people the Mayan. But in reality, Mayan means they do not understand. 11% of our entire population are Mayan. Yucatecan Mayan, Quechua Mayan, and Mopan Mayan. If we take one of every 3 Mayans and place them up front here, none of them can understand each other. They all speak a different dialect of Mayan. What I'm about to mention migrated here to our country. Asians, Chinese, Taiwanese, Lebanese, East Indians, Arabs, Amish, Mennonites, Canadians, Americans, Jamaicans, all migrated here. So, are you all familiar with the Amish, the Mennonites? 3% of our entire population are Amish. Now, where I reside to the west, about 14 years ago, they were dredging my backyard. They stumbled upon crude oil, and hence the reason we now export crude oil. The Amish provides us with 70% of what we eat on a daily basis. They are the real hard-working people of this country here. They provide us with all dairy products like eggs, milk, cheese, ice cream, and quality poultry products. Cheapest thing everybody eats on a daily basis in Belize, chicken and rice. That's the cheapest, it's more filling, it's more giving for huge families as well. We have the traditional Amish and we have the progressive Amish. So you can find them in their trousers, their suspenders, all these huge beards, big beards, these hats and so forth. We can find them here. So to the north of our country, you can find them in shipyard. To the west of our country, you can find them in Spanish Lookout. To the south of our country, you can find them in Blue Creek. And then we also have the Indians or the Hindus from India and Bangladesh. Are you familiar with them? They're the ones that come to our country, occupy downtown Belize City. They provide us with all clothing and footwear. Nothing that your tour guide, is wearing is made in Belize. We don't manufacture, we don't have factories. Everything is imported here. Landed here, boom, 12.5% taxes has to be added. How many of you are familiar with the trouser Dickies? Actually, that factory originates from Belize. Many, many years ago, that factory started here. They catered for approximately 300 workers. But all Dickies clothing was manufactured here in Belize and then sent out to the US to be tagged off, says made in the USA, and then imported back to the country of Belize. And then we can go downtown to the Hindus to purchase from them. We couldn't purchase directly from the Dickies factory. And so they're no longer here, they're now in Guatemala. And thirdly, we have Asians, Chinese. 90% of our grocery shop, supermarkets, and restaurants are all owned by Chinese. If you notice, in our country, no KFC, no Burger King, no McDonald's, no Wendy's, no Popeyes, no franchise. Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
Good thing.
Good thing. Well, let me share with you why don't we have them. We can't afford them. Many, many years ago, KFC came to Belize. They were selling us a fried chicken for $5 Belize. Boom! The Chinese landed here. Chinese started selling us those fried chicken for $1 Belize. Now, which would you purchase? $5 or just $1? $1, pretty much affordable. So what happened? The Chinese knocked the KFC out of business. Sorry? Yes. Just a minute, you're jumping me. But 20 years ago, who decided to give it a shot and came to Belize as well? Subway. Eat fresh. Heard of that before? Subway. Tell me about it. I was one of the greatest fans of a Subway sandwich, a Lay's potato chips, and a Coca-Cola. I was good to go. But Subway was selling us a 6-inch sub for $10 Belize. Now imagine having 3-4 children. You can't afford to purchase a sub sandwich. So Subway pack up and left the country of Belize. Now who is still here? The Chinese. Can we get a chicken for $1 anymore? No. It's now $3 Belize, which is still very much affordable for many Belizeans. Now, many of us as parents are not at home to give the kids a nice hot cooked meal because we travel, we work on early in the morning, and so you could give a child or your children $5 Belize per day. 12 o'clock for lunch, they could get a $3 fried chicken with a glass Coca-Cola for $1.25, and they're good to go. That's a meal for the day. So, no Kmart, no Walmart, no JCPenney, no 99-cent store, no buy one, get one half price. We don't have those here. We don't even have a mall per se in Belize, all right? So where does our clothing and our footwear comes from? Panama or Florida. How many of you ever visited Red Lobster before? Belize export spiny tail lobster to Red Lobster. Belize export jumbo shrimp to Long John Silver and Olive Garden. Belize export banana figs to the UK. Belize export citrus, not by fruits, but by concentrate. How many of you ever drunk a Minute Maid juice or a Tropicana juice that comes in the box? If you take the time to read the label of the box, it says made in the USA and other countries. Who are the other countries? Belize. Do you have a question? Okay. Yes, Belize. We export brown sugar, we import white sugar. Why? No refinery. So question for you all, from a tilapia and a barracuda. Which would you prefer? Tilapia. How many of you knew tilapia is a man-made fish that is raised in a pond? Actually, it started here by the Taiwanese. But us as Belizeans were not supportive because we were not familiar with tilapia. They got so frustrated, threw in their huts and sold over the tilapia farm. A Belizean in return purchased the tilapia farm, raising tilapia, exporting tilapia, but as Belizeans, we don't eat tilapia. My favorite is a red-tailed snapper with a good red kidney bean, some flour tortilla, and a habanero. I'm good to go. All right? Hispanics, we've used a lot of spicy food here within the country. And so, we grow a lot of our own crops right here. We grow our own fruits, our own veggies like cocoas, cassavas, yams, plantain, oranges, cantaloupe, sweet pepper, onion, tomato, red kidney beans, black beans, rice. We grow all of those here. Anything that we grow here, we can afford here. Anything that is imported, well, taxes has to be added, right? So for now, we stick a pin and we get into what will happen at where we're visiting. So first off, we're visiting an archaeological site called Alton Hawk. Now this was discovered by accident. In 1961, a pretty devastating hurricane struck Belize. That hurricane was called Hurricane Haiti. Heard of it before? Brought us winds of 150 miles per hour, leaving us with a tidal waves of 12 foot of water. 300 people died in that 1961 hurricane. Belize City was rebuilt, renamed, the capital was removed. Back in the past, Belize City was the capital. After 1961, today Belize is only the commercial center. Capital of our country, Belmopan. The further west we go, the higher the elevation gets. Beautiful Mayan Mountain, beautiful waterfall. We even have the highest point of our country called Doyle's Delight and Victoria's Peak. While Belize City is below sea level, entire northern part of our country pretty low-lying area. And so this area got affected by that 1961 hurricane as well. Many of these villagers lost their homes. They wanted to rebuild, but they did not have cash to rebuild. And so a few of the men gathered together and went inside to what they thought was a jungle. Nobody knew this was an archaeological site. When they got there and they saw all of these huge mountains, they thought that these were Mayan mountains. Keep in mind, this was an archaeological site. What they were destroying was the structures, the temple. They were not mountains, they were the temple, but nobody knew about the archaeological site. One morning, one local, Mr. James D. Audinet, came across a small green pendant. He put a string and he wore it as a necklace. Everybody was amused of this green pendant. He didn't know what it was, but he knew where he found it. So he went into the city, took the green pendant to the government. Nobody had an idea what it was. So with his permission, the government asked to borrow the green pendant, sent it out of the country to be tested, and discovered it was green jade. Jade must have meant the Mayans occupied the area. Well, our government quickly got on the phone and called for Dr. David Pendergast, the archaeologist of Toronto, Canada. Ring him up and said, hey, I have a proposition for you. I believe we discovered an archaeological site, but we do not have an archaeologist in Belize. Would you like to come to Belize to do the excavation at Alton Hawk? The deal is though, whatever you discover here, half goes back with you to Canada and half stays here to Belize. That was his payment, taking half of what was discovered. Pendergast agreed and quickly came to Belize. He carried out excavation here from 1964 to 1972. Excavation carried here by Dr. David Pendergast from the Royal Ontario Museum of Toronto, Canada. Now, what did he discover? He discovered two reservoirs. What a reservoir! Some huge hole that was dug by the Mayans, clay and limestone to access water. So what is the true name of this site? Nobody knows. What is the translation of Alton Ha? Alton Ha, rock, stone, water. So Alton, rock, stone, ha, water. So when you're saying ha ha ha, you're saying water, water, water. And so, ladies and gentlemen, Alton Ha is a very minor ceremonial center of the classic Maya civilization, where at its peak, Alton Ha had 10,000 Mayans occupying this area. 3,000 Mayans occupy the central core of the site itself. Alton Ha dates back from 200 BC before Christ to 900 AD after death. So, Pendergast believe no human sacrifices occurred here. Why? No ball court was discovered here. No stela was discovered here. Mayans had a game that was played with a huge rubber ball weighing 8 pounds. This game was called Pop Top Pop, huge rubber ball. The game could not be played with the hands, only the shoulders, the hips, and the knees. But after this game was completed, who did you think was beheaded? The winners or the losers? The winners. Why? The Mayans believe in offering the best to their gods. So the winning team would be sacrificed immediately. And that would have meant an honor for the remaining family, because their god meant everything to them. They had approximately 13 different gods. To name a few, the sun god was called Kinichahau. The rain god was called Chak. The wind god was called Ik. And the only female god of birth and fertility was Iksha. And so no human sacrifices occurred here, but these Mayans had to appeal their gods. So how did they do that? We're going to hear that on site, okay? So ladies and gentlemen, no human sacrifices occurred here, but they had to appeal their gods. And so, question, if no human sacrifices occurred here, why was altar discovered on top of these structures? So if they didn't sacrifice humans, what did they sacrifice on those altars? Animals. What type of animals? Jaguar simply meant straight for the high priest. So they would sacrifice the jaguar. They would cut the entire skin off the jaguar, place it out in the in the open for it to dry, and then they would make a huge robe for the high priest from the jaguar skin. They would then hunt the scarlet macaw, very bright, colorful bird. They would take the feathers of that bird and they would make a huge headdress for the high priest. Now keep in mind, ladies were only 4 feet short, while the men were 5 feet short, like myself, okay? So when he comes all the way up to the tallest structure, seems like he's 7 feet tall because of all the shenanigans that he's wearing. But he was only 5 feet short. So today when you're climbing, you're going to come to me and say, hey Leticia, if Mayans were 4 feet and 5 feet in height, why are these stairs so steep? Very steep. Today's climbing is a bit intense, all right? So I ask you to please take precaution. Now the stairs are very steep because this building wasn't built for anybody to climb. Only the high priest would climb. How would he climb? Not with the feet. He had to go down on both knees and both hands. So every time he made a step, it's like he made a bow to his God until he got to the very top of the structure. Now when you're coming off this structure, never come forward. Come down on a side angle. When you come down on a side angle, it's pretty much easier for you. Less pressure on your ankle, less pressure on your knees as well. And if you would like, you can come butt down as well. That's the safest way, all right? Butt down. And this is where I become your photographer as well. Those of you that are not able to climb, I ask that you just go up the first tier off the floor, and I take your picture with the temple behind your background, and you can go home and say, yes, I did it. I went up and came down. Hey, nobody knows. Who knows, all right? So there's a trick to everything as well. And when you're taking these photos, you gotta say Belize. Brings out a big smile on your face, all right? So when we get to the archaeological site, all right, when we get to the site, we have a few bottles of waters for anybody that really needs a water. Get a water, and then we head to the restroom. Now, we're going to split the group in. So we're going to split our group in 4, okay? 4 groups. Only 15 of you will be with myself. Another 15 with another tour guide. Another 15 with another tour guide, and just like that. The thing is that the Belize Tourism Board brought out new rules and regulation. It's only 15 guests per tour guide. And so we're going to have 3 tour guides on site that will be assisting us. Please keep in mind they will only assisting us on the site to get the tour complete. Myself, Leticia, will be with you for the entire day until we get back to the city. Okay? And the thing is, please, let's cooperate. Don't be afraid to split the group, because these tour guides are very knowledgeable as well. So we're going to get to the bathroom. After using the bathroom, we all gather together right outside the bathroom. There is where I shout for Leticia's group. What is my name? Thank you. Leticia's group, and there is where I start splitting the group. Anybody that is traveling with children,